Hello everyone, welcome back to Needle Workshop. In our last project, I took a very long tangent on some tips and tricks that can really come in handy when sewing stretchy fabric. I figured that information would make an interesting enough segment of its own, so here it is, available as its own video. Please enjoy. I was at my local fabric store buying fabric when I came across this thread, an EcoFlex thread made for stretch fabric. I had heard of stretchy thread, but had never actually used one before, so I got very curious if this was really worth picking up in the first place. I decided to test it out, and to do that, we'll be using the EcoFlex to do a straight stitch on one fabric and a zigzag stitch on another. We'll be testing the same stitch with the same settings with a regular all-purpose thread and seeing if there is really a difference between the two. Here are all the test subjects. The blue is the EcoFlex and the white thread is regular thread. Right away, I can see that the EcoFlex did not help prevent any of the puckering effect we tend to get when using a zigzag stitch on a stretch fabric. So that's something I'll have to try and fix regardless of the thread I end up using. Stay tuned for more on that later. Starting with the straight stitch, I'm gonna give both of them a light tug to see if there's a difference. Right away, I can feel that the straight stitch with the EcoFlex is actually giving a bit more bounce and flexibility than the other one. If we give the regular stitch a strong pull, you can hear and see it rip apart in several places. It has no flexibility at all. Now let's take a look at how our EcoFlex fares on a stronger pull. It's actually much better. I'm actually honestly impressed here. It's not perfect, but this might actually be an option if you could manage to get your tension to work with you. This is also why we recommend not using straight stitches on stretch fabric in general. Especially for beginners, it's very hard to get the tension for a straight stitch to match the stretch of the fabric. Now, if we take a look at our zigzag stitch, this is where the EcoFlex really shines. As you can see, the regular thread tore really easily, but the EcoFlex is really retaining all that stretchability. Okay, this is in no way sponsored, by the way. I just picked this up for fun at the store, but I'm actually really happy with how it worked, and I would definitely recommend it to anyone looking to work with stretch fabric. Now, you might be wondering, how do I stop my fabric from puckering when using a zigzag stitch? My recommendation is using water-soluble stabilizer. It's the same thing you use when doing embroidery work. We're gonna test out our straight and zigzag stitch again, but this time they'll both be backed with stabilizer. The top one was sewn with a straight stitch and the bottom one with a zigzag stitch, and let me tell you, I was pretty impressed. There is still one more product that I'd like to go over with you that will help finish the hem of your stretchy creations, and that's hem tape. Yes, you can use stabilizer to help sew the hem, but hem tape can be a much more valid option depending on what you're trying to do. So what is hem tape? Hem tape is usually a little adhesive strip that can be applied using heat or some form of wash away quilting tape. Personally, I wouldn't recommend a permanent bond tape for the hem of a stretchy fabric, even the ones said to be for stretch fabric. I find the glue can often seep through the fabric or really mess up the hem after a few washes. It can also eliminate a lot of stretch, which is sometimes a really bad thing. For our current project, it could be forgiving, but if you're sewing horizontally on a stretch shirt, for instance, that could kill your ability to put on the shirt altogether. This can really depend on the product you use and the quality of it, so it can sometimes be a gamble. Instead, I recommend a wash away quilting tape. As the name implies, it's a temporary bond and it washes away in the wash. It'll help both hold your hem in place when you sew and stabilize your stitch. You just apply it along the edge, remove the top section of the tape, and fold the hem in before sewing. After a wash, it's completely gone and retains all of the stretch that you want. So I think that covers everything for today's video. So as always, make sure to like and subscribe if you like these kind of videos. It always helps with the growth of the channel. You can also follow us on all our socials and tag us in your projects if you'd like for us to see and share your work. So I hope this was helpful, and as always, good luck with your projects, guys. Bye bye.